Happy Friday the 13th, everyone. I would love to say that I've got that Friday the 13th Blu-ray set that just came out, and I'd love to show it, but I don't have it. And there's one main reason, because it's not out in the UK. Don't know why, but it's not. I wanted to get that, the box set from Camp Crystal Lake to, Manhattan, that one. It's out of print. It just recently went out of print just before I was about to get it. So I can't get that now. So hopefully the Blu-ray set comes out in the next year. Maybe before the new Friday the 13th film comes out, which I'm pretty sure the rights have gone back to Paramount. So they're making the next one. Don't know how Warner Brothers released the Blu-ray, but for some reason Paramount now have the rights to make a new Friday the 13th movie. So hopefully the box set will come out in the UK just before the new movie comes out in maybe a year or two. So what am I talking about today? Well, today I've been doing a DVD collection overview. Filmed it all in one day, uploaded it, and just scheduled it to come out every day. And today's one is a DVD box sets one. So it's all my... I'll just turn around and show you that. Yeah, all that. I shouldn't do that because I'm going to lose track of where I actually was. Yeah, I showed off a collection I recently got. I got, how many is it? 9. A whole 9 films of a horror series that I did a full review of over a year ago. In the video I said, yeah, I was gonna do an overview of what I now thought of the films a year later, watching them all again. Because when I first did it, the only 2 films I'd actually seen were the first 2. And some of the third film. But yeah, I'd seen the first 2 when I was about 10 or 11. So when I watched it last year, that was essentially my first viewing, but in some ways it wasn't. It's my first, time I actually enjoyed them. Second one, not so much, but yeah. So, 3, all up to the new remake, I'd, never seen. And now, a year later, I decided, you know what, I've seen them pretty much second time, first to a third time. I should probably watch them all again and see what I thought. So, went on to Amazon, saw the box set with the first 7 was something like a £5, and the other 2 were a couple pounds. So I was like, you know what, let's just get there. So I got all of them. They arrived not that long after I bought them, and I watched them all again. I watched 2 a night. With a couple of exceptions. I think one night I only watched one of the films, but mostly 2 a night, and I really enjoyed them again. Some I didn't, but I decided, let's finally do this. Oh, pardon me. Let's finally do this. Look back at the films and see my new opinion, if I have any different opinions. Most of them I think they're either as good as they were before or as bad as they were before. There are a couple of opinions that have either changed, or I think they're either better than I thought or even worse than I thought they were before. So let's take a look on today's let's take a look today on my DVD video. Let's take a look at the Nightmare on Elm Street films, all the way from 1 to 7 in this box set. Freddy vs. Jason, and the 2010 remake. So let's go! Okay, so first I want to talk about the actual DVDs instead of the films themselves. I will show off the DVDs. What I was going to do for the DVDs, I was actually going to put the menu up on there so you can kind of see what the menu looks like. I know the person on YouTube called The Flick Pick, he does this sometimes, and I thought it was a good idea, so I thought I'd steal it. So yep, let's start off with the 7-disc Nightmare on Elm Street, the Ultimate Collector's Edition. So, like I said, what this has got is all the way from the first Nightmare on Elm Street to the New Nightmare, last of the official series, basically. So, this is quite a good box set, actually. It's very bare bones, so you don't get many special features at all. It's kind of a shame. I know with the new Blu-ray set they did, there's a lot of extras on there, so I want to get that sometime. I just thought I might as well get these just to watch the film again, and it wasn't that expensive. So let's basically just take it out. So I'll get behind the camera to show it off. So this is the actual front of the thing here. It's got eyes. I'm pretty sure that's from New Nightmare, but you know, not sure. And on the back, that is from New Nightmare with his new updated claws. So it's one of these stacked cases thing. Although a lot of people go, oh, I hate those stacked cases, they're really bad, but you know, I like them. And there's the claws. I'm pretty sure that's from Freddy's Dead. And the films are on, oh, you can see me, hello. The films are on these not double-sided, these things that are really annoying because they get fingerprints everywhere. So here's the first film, and of course you flip over to the second film, third film, fourth, fifth, sixth, and the final one, New Nightmare. And then if you look at that, it's got all the covers there. As I said, with this box set, there are almost no extras at all. I mean, there's trailers on pretty much all of them, except I'm pretty sure Freddy's Dead doesn't have any extras at all. But all the others have trailers, a couple of like bonus things. I know New Nightmare has a couple of like short featurettes about their opinions on bits of the films and stuff. So yeah, that's the box set there. And then we go to Freddy vs. Jason. This is a 2-disc set. The only one of these actual DVDs here that have any real extras. So let's talk about the extras. So the DVD comes with, on the first disc, a filmmaker's commentary with director Ronnie Yu, actors Robert Englund and Ken Kersinger, and also a jump to a death menu option, which actually all of the films, except for the remake and Freddy's Dead, I still don't think that has it, you can actually jump to certain nightmares, which I think is a really good addition. So if you want to look at only one death, you're like, oh, I really like that death, I wonder how it looks, let's go back and have a look, you can actually do that, except for Freddy's Dead and the remake. But I don't know why you'd want to do it with the remake, because there's like no good deaths at all. So then on disc 2 we have deleted and alternative scenes, including the original opening and ending with commentary by director Ronnie Yu and executive producer Douglas Curtis. I haven't seen any of the deleted scenes or alternative endings yet. In fact, I haven't. The only extra I really watched was there was a few behind the scenes one I watched, and there was another one I watched, but for some reason they're not talking about it here. I can't remember what it was called, but it's basically them showing off a screening and stuff. So now we have behind the scenes coverage of the film's development, including screenwriting, set design, makeup, stunt and principal photography. There's visual effects exploration, storyboards in galleries, a music video for El Nino's How I Can Live, and original theatrical trailers and TV spots. And this is what it looks like on the inside, very basic. Again, it's got this double-sided shit. And there's the other disc. And then we have the 2010 remake. I really kind of regret getting this. I know it was really cheap, but I'll talk about this soon. There's one special feature. See, on the back it doesn't say special feature, it says special feature. Freddy Krueger Reborn. Find out how the filmmakers dreamt up this terrifying take on horror's scariest franchise and follow the reinvention of Freddy Krueger. Okay. And then of course inside we have this, which is it looks even worse than other discs. I mean, the other discs, yeah, they had no colour in them, but I mean, that looks better than this, just white. It looks like a rental copy. So here's the first film, here's the menu for that, and it's actually a pretty cool menu. I mean, nearly all the films have really cool interactive menus like that. So, and there's Freddy there. I don't know how well you can see this, but it looks pretty cool. But, let's talk about the first Nightmare on Elm Street. So, as I said, I've watched this and the second one when I was about 10 or 11. And then I didn't like it, to be honest. I thought it wasn't very scary, thought it was kind of boring, and I didn't really understand it. I watched it again last year, absolutely loved it. I thought it was scary, it was smart, it was just a really well made horror film, and when I watched it again I didn't feel any different. I thought it was kind of better than I remembered it being last year. I absolutely loved it. I think it's one of the best horror films ever made, and in my opinion one of the best 80s movies. Everything about the original Nightmare on Elm Street works. It just gets under your skin, it's really scary, and it's just a fantastically made horror film. And I think Wes Craven really did do a great job. Robert Englund was amazing. Everyone did a really good job in acting, effects, whatever. Everyone managed to make a fantastic film. So, yep, the original Nightmare on Elm Street I still think is one of the best horror films ever made. So then we get on to Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge again. Pretty cool menu there. Every once in a while Freddy pops up, because that's the opening scene of the movie. I still hate this movie. I mean, I probably am a bit more kind on it this time watching it. I think it is really quite bad, but that's half the appeal. I thought it was just so bad that it was really funny. I mean, I was laughing my head off at some of the scenes in this. And I almost did a Hollywood Beatdown review of this where I analyse films just like Nostalgia Critic does, make jokes about it, and I almost did it with this, but I don't know why I didn't. I just think it's probably because I didn't want to watch it again so soon. But this is quite a bad film. The scenes with Freddy in are some of the scariest in the series, in my opinion. I mean, no, they're not really scary, but I think he's just quite creepy. The scene where Jesse first meets Freddy, where he's in his house and he's like, "You've got the body, I've got the brain," that just really creeps me out, and it always has. Especially when he rips the skin off his head. I mean, yeah, it's silly and quite cheesy, but I thought that scene was quite scary, and I really liked the "you're all my children now," that scene. That was over the top, but still it's one of my favourite scenes in the movie. It's one of the worst in the series, but I still really enjoyed it just because how really just bad and cheesy it really was. And then we have Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. The menu's always moving with this one instead of every once in a while a scene of the film fading in at the top. Not a scene, I mean just a clip. And look, even Freddy's moving there. So with this one I thought, the first time I watched it I said yeah, it was really good, but probably one of the best of the sequels, but not my favourite, and pretty much the same this time. I did really enjoy it, but there were some scenes I just didn't think held up as well. I didn't think it was as good as the first film, and not as good as New Nightmare, but yes, I still do enjoy it. I can see how some people will say it's their favourite in the series. It's a highly enjoyable one. There was a few things I didn't actually notice or didn't remember actually happening, so it was kind of weird. It felt like I was watching an extended edition, but I knew I wasn't. So, yeah, I really enjoy Dream Warriors, but it's not my favourite. Now we get to Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master. That is probably the weirdest menu on all of them. So that's always moving as well. I can't remember what I thought of this one. I know I liked it. Didn't think it was the best in the series. And I didn't think it was terrible. Again, exactly the same. It's okay, I guess. It's not amazing, but I definitely think there's better in the series. And again, there's worse in the series. I mean, the next one I just genuinely despise now. Even more than I did before, but this one is not that bad. It's just meh, I guess. The death scenes I really enjoyed. Some of the scenes are really good. Some of the characters are likeable, and I can't remember if this is this the one where, yeah, this is the ending I hate. So if you've seen this one, you'll know that the ending just got really repetitive and boring for me. What happens is basically it starts off, the ending for me, the last act starts when the girl, whatever her name is, Alice I think it is, she goes to save someone and goes, Freddy's going to attack, something like that, let's go. And they're driving along and it keeps repeating the same thing. They'll be driving along, then all of a sudden she'll be running around the corner to say the exact same thing. And they have deja vu. I hate that scene. It is so fucking boring. It just gets really repetitive, and I just think the film would have been better if it hadn't had that. And I think the whole third act really just was quite bad, even for a Nightmare on Elm Street sequel. I mean, most of the sequels don't have very good third acts, except for 3 and 7. The rest of them have really, really bad third acts, but this is probably one of the worst of them all. The final Freddy death was just quite bad. I thought it was kind of confusing. I understood it, but I just didn't think it made much sense. I mean, what happens is, Freddy's shown a reflection of himself because Alice remembers a poem that basically says evil will die when it sees itself. Something similar to that. And she shows a reflection of Freddy, and all the, you can see that's the death scene basically. All those things there, they're the souls inside of Freddy, and they basically rip themselves out of Freddy and he dies. I just didn't think it was that good, didn't think it made sense, but at least it's not as bad as the next one. And then we have probably, in my opinion, the second worst film in the entire series, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child. Look at that menu, that's quite a bad menu. I mean, nothing's happening. Just that one screenshot. Oh look, something happened. I really don't like this one. It is just incredibly boring. The death scenes aren't that good. There are a couple memorable ones, but I think compared to the other films, the death scenes aren't really that good. I didn't like any of the characters. Didn't sympathise with them in any way. It's just kind of a cash grab. Basically, just look at Freddy killing people for the whole film. You don't care when people die, whereas in the first film and a couple of the sequels, you don't want Freddy to kill him. Whereas this one, you're kind of cheering him on, wanting him to kill everyone. I think the film doesn't make sense, even more so than the fourth film. If you've seen the film, then you know what it's about. Basically, for those who haven't seen it, it's Freddy is using the dreams of Alice's child inside of her to pull her into the dream world in the middle of the day when she's not sleeping, kind of mess her up, and yeah, it doesn't really seem like it'll be good for a whole film, but I'm pretty sure what happens, I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that by bringing her into the dream, using her dream power that she got in the 4th film where she can pull other people into her dream. She accidentally pulls her friends into the dream and he kills them even when they're awake. I'm pretty sure that's what happens, but I really could be wrong. It's been about a month since I've seen this, and I didn't really like it then. So, yeah, I think it's highly forgettable, just quite boring, and I really don't like Dream Child, especially the ending. Oh my god. I think the ending is close to being worse. It's probably even worse than Dream Master. What happened, it just doesn't make any sense. Freddy's mum comes into the dream because someone touched her dead body and somehow she got released. I have no fucking idea. Then she came into this dream, turned Freddy back into a baby and put her inside of her belly. How? It just doesn't make any sense. That's the only ending where I thought it just didn't make any sense at all. The 4th one, yeah, it kind of was a bit confusing, but in a way it made sense. Even the 2nd one, where he gets killed by the power of love. I mean, that is really, really stupid, and it doesn't really make sense, but it's not as bad as Dream Child. I hate it more than I did before, and I really didn't like it before. Then we get to a night... Actually, no, it's not even called Nightmare on Elm Street. It's called Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Look at that menu. That is probably the worst DVD menu I've ever seen. It looks so bad. I mean, I could have made better than that, and I can't make DVD menus to save my life. I mean, look at it. It's so bad. It's the only one that doesn't have a cool, kind of moving background like the others do. I mean, look at it. It's kind of like they were just like, no one likes this film, so let's just give them a cheap menu that we made in 2 seconds. So, what do I think of Freddy's Dead? Haven't really changed my opinion. It's okay, I guess. I think I definitely see why people hate it. I think it is quite bad, but I enjoyed it. It's kind of, in some ways, it's a bit of a satire / parody. There's bits that are quite funny. Some of the death scenes are good. I think the 3rd act is atrocious. That final death scene was terrible. I know it's because he got brought into the real world, but seriously, it didn't really make much sense still. And, yeah, I think if it was the final Freddy film, I would have been quite upset, because it's just, it'll be going out on a whimper. Then we have the final one in this box set that I've taken this bit out. It's still, the menu's still moving. New Nightmare. I've said this before, it's my favourite of the sequels. Almost better than the first one. Not as good, but in some ways is kind of better. But I still prefer the first one. It's just, the first one's a classic. But this one is a fantastic horror film. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's set in the real world where Freddy manages to break out of the dream world, well, the film world actually, not the dream world. He manages to break out films, come alive. He looks more realistic, more muscly, more badass. And it's just a great film. I only watched it last year for the first time, as like with the other films, and I just really loved it. It's one that I think I'll watch again and again. With the others, I think I won't watch many of the other sequels unless I'm watching them all in a row, or yeah. But I think I'd definitely watch this separately because it is a really fun, enjoyable film. It's quite scary. It's probably, after the first 2, I think it's probably the scariest in the series. But yeah, I loved New Nightmare. my opinion hasn't changed. I still think it's as good as it was last year. Here's a good film to celebrate the occasion. Freddy vs. Jason. There's the menu there. It's a good return to form for Nightmare on Elm Street menus. Since I saw this film last year, I've now seen all of the Friday the 13th films. So now I looked at this film in a different way. Instead of looking at it like, yeah, it's another Freddy film, I decided it's more than just a Freddy film, it's another Jason film. Let's see how well Jason is represented. And I didn't enjoy it as much. I think they really did they really badly handled Jason. Freddy was fine. Freddy was just like he is in the original films. And I thought Robert Englund was great. It was a great film to say goodbye to Robert Englund. Jason. Yeah, there was most of the scenes, Jason was fine. He was just like he is in the original films. Other scenes, it was just a big insult. I mean, there's literally a scene where you see that Jason's afraid of water. And when he goes into water, all his clothes magically disappear and he's on the floor crying. Like a baby. I mean, that was just the most stupid scene in the entire film. That was the biggest insult. I think that the fact that that Jason's afraid of water is very, very stupid, because all throughout the films, the Jason films, Friday the 13th, Jason gets into water a lot. He follows people into water to kill them. Just because he's drowned a few times in water doesn't mean he's afraid of it. I mean, he literally was on a boat in one of the films, and I think he had to jump off to get out of the boat. But yeah, he's been in water loads of times. He wouldn't be afraid of water like that. It's just so stupid. Apart from that, what do I think of the film? I still think it's pretty good in my opinion. I know a lot of people hate it, but I think they could have done a lot better, but again, they could have done worse. I enjoyed some of the character development. I've always been one to enjoy films, especially because of character development. I mean, the film can be terrible, but if the characters are likeable and it's a lot of character development, I probably like it. This, some of the characters are really badly portrayed, or really badly fleshed out, not fleshed out at all. But I think a lot of the characters are likeable. I think they kind of got in the way of Freddy and Jason sometimes, but I did enjoy the film. So yes, that is Freddy vs. Jason, and we've almost finally finished my look back at the Nightmare on Elm Street films. We got one more film left, and boy, is this a big one. Hi guys, yes, the camera's on a different angle at the moment. It's not because it ran out of battery or anything, or the tripod broke, nothing to do with that. I finished the video, basically. I started editing it and got to the part of where I start talking about the remake. It's 28 minutes so far of the first 8 films, so I thought that was a good length. Maybe I should split it into 2, because I've got about 50 minutes of footage here. So I started editing the remake. I was going to split it into 2 somewhere, and I realised that I'd start ranting about the remake for about 20 minutes. So this is where the video ends. I will be, hopefully, the rant about the remake, I don't know how to pronounce rant or rant, that will be up today, hopefully, maybe not, but yeah, it's split into 2 halves, so come back whenever, maybe it's already up, or come back sometime later for my full, it's not really in-depth, it's less in-depth than the 5-minute video I did before where I reviewed Freddy vs Jason and the remake, but I talk about pretty much every little problem I have with the film. So come back for that. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.